Hello everyone, and thanks for watching Edupedia World Videos. This is the video for the solutions of the first paper of JEE Advanced. I will be solving problems as they appear in code 1. The first problem is the number of distinct solutions of the equation, and we are given a particular equation which is 5 by 4 cos 2x plus cos to the power 4x plus sin to the power 4x plus cos to the power 6x plus sin to the power 6x equals 2 within the interval 0 to 2 pi. Right. So the first step I'll do is I'll convert cos 2x into cos square x minus sin square x. Right, sorry, this is cos squared 2x. And for the sake of clarity, now every time I have cos of x, I'll write c and sin of x will be s. Right, so we get 5 by 4 times c squared minus s squared whole squared plus c to the power 4 plus s to the power 4 plus, for these two I'll use the formula for a cube plus b cube, that is a plus b times a square plus b square minus ab. This is 2. Right, now c square plus s square becomes 1. So we'll open this up and it will become 9 by 4 c to the power 4 plus 9 by 4 s to the power 4 minus, now this will be 5 by 4 times 2, so minus 5 by 2 plus c to the power 4 plus s to the power 4 minus c square s square. Now I'm going to use these two terms to try to create a perfect square, and I'll use these two terms to try to create a perfect square, and I'll use c square s square to balance it out. Right, so I can write this as 3 by 2 c squared plus 3 by 2 s squared whole squared, that is the first term plus the second term plus 9 by 2 c square s squared. Right, but I actually have a total of minus 7 by 2 c squared s squared, right, instead of 9 by 2. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to take a minus 8 right, because this is minus 5 by 2 and minus 1 is minus 7 by 2, and we want plus 9 by 2. So 9 by 2 minus 8 gives me minus 7 by 2. Right. So this becomes, this is just 3 by 4 whole square, 3 by 2 whole square. So 9 by 4 minus, now I can take this to be c square plus s squared whole squared. Right. So minus, sorry, plus. Now there will be minus 10 c square s squared. Right, because c square plus c to the power 4 plus s to the power 4 minus 2 c squared s squared plus 2 c squared s squared. Right. So minus 10 plus 2 will give me minus 8. So this tells me that minus 10 c square s squared equals 9 by 4 plus 1, that becomes 13 by 4, 2 minus 13 by 4, that becomes minus 5 by 4. Right. That gives me 4c square s square, that is sine of 2x now, because c and s was sine of x. So sine 2x whole square is minus 5 by minus 10, that is 1 by 2, which gives me sine 2x equals plus minus 1 by root 2. Right. So now I'll calculate how many solutions there are for this. So we want sine 2x equal to plus minus 1 by root 2. Right. So if x has to be between 0 and 360 degrees, 2x has to be between 0 and 720 degrees. Right. So 2x can have values. 1 by root 2 will give me 4 values. For 1 by root 2, 2x could be 45, it could be 135, it could be 360 plus 45, and it could be 360 plus 135. Right. all these values will give me 1 by root 2. Then for minus 1 by root 2, 2x can be 225. That is now in the third quadrant. This is in the first and second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant, then again the third and the fourth quadrant, and 360 plus 315. If we take 720 plus 45, then x does not remain between 0 and 2 pi. Right? So for these 8 values, x will lie between 0 and 2 pi. So the answer to this question is 8. The next question is, let the curve C be the mirror image of the parabola y squared equals to 4x with respect to the line x plus y plus 4 equal to 0. If A and B are the point of intersection of C with the line y is equal to minus 5, then the distance between A and B is. So we need the mirror image of the curve y squared is equal to 4x and the mirror image about the point x plus y plus 4 equal to 0. So we know how to do that, right? It's just like if we had to take the mirror image about y is equal to x or about y is equal to minus x. We replace by y by minus 4 minus x and we replace x by minus 4 minus y. So we get minus 4 minus x whole square is equal to 4 times minus 4 minus y, right? Which gives me x plus 4 whole square is equal to 16 plus 4y. And now we need to find the intersection of this curve with y is equal to minus 5. So I'll just put y is equal to 5. That will give me 5 times 4 is 20. So it gives me, it will be minus 20. So x plus 4 whole squared is equal to 4. So x plus 4 could be 2 or minus 2, which means x is minus 2 or minus 6. And the distance between, obviously y is minus 5, so it's minus 2 comma minus 5 and minus 6 comma minus 5. So the distance between them is 4. Right? The question after this is, the minimum number of times a fair coin needs to be tossed so that the probability of getting at least 2 heads should be 0.96. Right? So let's say I toss the coin n number of times. The probability that at least 2 heads should be greater than equal to 0.96. Right? So the probability of getting at least 2 heads means the probability of getting 2 heads or more than 2 heads. The only other options are 1 head or no head. Right? So the probability of getting no heads plus the probability of getting 1 head plus the probability of getting 2 heads plus the probability of getting more than 2 heads has to be equal to 1. Right? So the probability of getting 2 or more than 2 heads has to be equal to the total probability 1 minus the probability of getting 0 heads minus the probability of getting 1 heads. Right? So that is 1 minus, now 0 heads means all these are tails. And if it's a fair coin, 1 by 2 probability for this to be tail, 1 by 2 for this. So 1 by 2 times 1 by 2 times 1 by 2 dot 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 n times. So this becomes 1 by 2 whole to the power n. Now we need 1 head. Right? So the first question comes, we could have the first toss as a head, we could have the second toss as a head, we could have any one of these tosses as a head. Right? So there are n places for that particular head to occur. Now once we've decided that particular toss is a head and every other is a tail, 1 by 2 probability for that to be head, 1 by 2 probability for all the others to be tail. So we again multiplied by 1 by 2 whole to the power n. N minus 1 for the n minus 1 tails and another for the head, right? Because the probability of getting head is 1 by 2. This should be greater than equal to 0.96, which gives me n plus 1 by 2 to the power n should be less than equal to 0.04, which gives me 2 to the power n should be greater than equal to 25n plus 25. Now you can just substitute and try to solve. So for n equal to 2, 3, 4, you can try to solve. We know that for n is equal to 7, 2 to the power n is 128, right? And 25 into 7 is 175. So it doesn't work. If we take n is equal to 8, 2 to the power n is 256, and this is 250 plus 25. So it works. N is equal to 8 is the smallest number for which this equation is valid. So the minimum number of times it needs to be tossed is 8. So this answer is 8. Right. The next is let n be the number of ways in which 5 boys and 5 girls can stand in a queue in such a way that all the girls stand consecutively. Let m be the number of ways in which 5 boys and 5 girls can stand in such a way that exactly 4 girls stand consecutively. We need to find the value of m by n. So let's start with n. Right. Now n is the number of ways in which all 5 girls stand consecutively. Right. So these are 5 boys. Now all the 5 girls are together. Right. So all the 5 girls could be at this point, that is G, 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 B, 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 B. Or all the 5 girls could be here, or all the 5 girls could be here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 positions where the total 5 girls could be sitting, right? So first we take that 6. Now there's another, we need to be able to interchange those 5 girls, right? So the number of ways of doing that is 5 factorial. Also there are 5 factorial ways of being able to interchange the 5 boys. So ultimately the answer is 6 into 5 factorial into 5 factorial. I'll repeat it again. The girls, this circle stands for a group of 5 girls. So that group could be immediately in the beginning, it could be at the end, it could be at this point, each one of them is a different situation. So 6 choices. After we've decided that, all the girls within that disk can be arranged in a 5 factorial number of ways, and all the boys can be arranged in 5 factorial number of ways. Right? Let's see m. In m, we need to have 4 girls together and 1 girl away. Right? So let's put the single girl first. We can have 6 places to do that. Right. Then the other group of 4 girls has 5 other places left to go to. Let's say we put the first girl at this point. Then we have 4 girls G, 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 G. We can put those 4 here, 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 here or here. So we have 5 ways of doing that. Right. Then we have 5 boys, we can move them in 5 factorial number of ways. Now let's look at the girls. We had 5 girls and we took one and put it separately. So we could have chosen one of 5 girls to separate from the others. So there are 5 choices for that. And once we've done that, the other 4 girls can be arranged in 4 factorial number of ways. Right? So this is the value of m. Let me repeat it again. 6 positions for the first single girl. That is this 6. We have 5 choices for the single girl. That is this 5. Once we have chosen that position for the single girl, 5 remaining positions for the group of 4 girls. That is this 5. 5 factorial ways to arrange boys, 4 factorial ways to arrange 4 girls. Right? If we try to calculate m by n, this is 6 into 5 factorial into 5 factorial. 5 factorial cancels with 5 factorial. 6 cancels with 6. 5 into 4 factorial is 5 factorial, which cancels with 5 factorial. So I am left with the answer equal to 5. Right. Let's look at the next question. The next question is, if the normal of the parabola y square is equal to 4x is drawn at the endpoints of its latest rectum, are tangents to the circle x minus 3 whole squared plus y plus 2 whole squared equal to r squared, then what is the value of r squared? Right. So this is the standard parabola which you've all seen. Right, so this is y square is equal to 4x. That means a is equal to 1 in the general y square is equal to 4x. Right, a comma 0 is the focus. So in this case that's 1 comma 0. These are the 2 points for the latest rectum. If if x is 1 and a is 1, this is squared. So y square is equal to 4. So y can be 2 or minus 2. So this is 1 comma 2 and this is 1 comma minus 2. right? We know for a parabola, any point can be represented as at square comma 280. This is the parametric representation. And the normal through this point, these formulas you need to remember, the normal through this point is given by y plus xt is equal to 280 plus t cube. In this case, a is 1, so we get, and if you want to calculate the value of t for the first one, t is equal to 1, right? Because a is 1 and we need 1 comma 2. So t is 1 and a is 1, so we get x plus y is equal to 3, right? X plus y is equal to 3 is the equation of the normal through this point, right? We know that this particular line is a tangent to the circle. That means its distance from the center of the circle should be equal to the radius, right? If this line is a tangent to this circle, then the minimum distance of the center of the circle to this line is equal to the radius, because this angle is 90 degrees. We know the minimum distance, that is given by ax plus by plus c by root of a squared plus b squared. So in this case, for 3 comma 2, which is the center of the circle is given as x minus 3 whole squared plus y plus 2 whole squared. So the center of the circle is 3 comma minus 2, right? So the distance of 3 comma minus 2 from this equation would be 3 minus 2 minus 3 divided by root of a squared plus b squared, that is root 2, right? That is minus 2 by root 2, that is minus root 2, but we need the distance, so we'll take the absolute magnitude, that is root 2, which is equal to the radius of the circle. So we know that the radius of the circle is root 2, that means r squared equal to 2. This is my final answer, right? Let's look at the next question. F of x is equal to greatest integer less than equal to x if x is less than equal to 2, and 0 if x is greater than equal to 2. And we need to find the value of an integral, which is integral of minus 1 to 2 x f of x squared by 2 plus f of x plus 1, right? So let's look at x squared and minus x squared, right? F of x squared is simply the greatest integer less than equal to x squared if x squared is less than equal to 2, and is 0 if x squared is greater than equal to 2. I have done nothing but replace x by x squared in the above expression, right? Which means that f of x squared will be 0 if x squared is between, it's greater than equal to 2 is obviously there, but if x squared is between 0 and 1, then greatest integer less than equal to x square would be 0, right? And if x square is between 0 and 1, that means x is between minus 1 and 1. So it is 0 for x between minus 1 and 1, right? If we go greater than 1 and less than root 2, then x square is between 1 and 2. So the greatest integer is equal to 1. So it is equal to 1 if x is between 1 and root 2. I'm not looking at the negative side because I only need from minus 1 to 2. If x is greater than root 2, then x square is greater than equal to 2, and this value becomes 0. So this whole integral might as well just be written as from 1 to root 2, because f of x square is 0 in any other place, right? From minus 1 to 1, f of x squared is 0 because the greatest integer less than equal to x squared is 0, and greater than root 2, f of x squared is 0 because x squared is greater than equal to root 2. So we need from 1 to root 2. From 1 to root 2, f of x plus 1, again basically it would be greatest integer of x plus 1 if x plus 1 less than equal to 2, that is x less than equal to 1, which we don't need, and it would be 0 if x is greater than equal to 1, and we just need from 1 to root 2, so f of x is 0, right? So f of x squared is 1 and f of x plus 1 is 0, so we get integral of x by 2 dx, which gives me x squared by 4 from 1 to root 2, right? Root 2 will give me 2 by 4 and 1 will give me 1 by 4, the difference will be 1 by 4. So the value of I comes out to be 1 by 4, and we needed to find the value of 4i minus 1, that is equal to 0. So my final answer in this case is 0. Right? The next question is, a cylindrical container is to be made from a certain solid material which has a fixed inner volume V, 2 mm thick solid wall. Bottom of the container is a circular disc of thickness 2 mm, and the volume of the material used to make the container is minimum when the radius is 10 mm. Right? So let me just draw the figure first to make it a little bit clear. It is something like this. Right? All this part is material. Right? And this particular volume of the inner part is V. So let's take this small radius to be R and let's take this small height to be H. This thickness is 2 and this thickness is 2, that is given to us. V is equal to pi R squared H is a constant. That means if R changes, H has to change accordingly such that V remains a constant. Right? We are told that small v, the volume of the material, is minimum when R is equal to 10. So what is the volume of the material required? First, let's take the volume of the base disk. The outer radius is actually R plus 2. So this will be equal to pi times R plus 2 whole squared multiplied by 2 plus now the volume of the surrounding walls. So that will be the height H multiplied by the outer disk minus the inner disk. So pi times R plus 2 whole squared minus R squared. We are given that this function is minimum when R is equal to 10, subject to this constraint. Right? Remember, this constraint is important. Otherwise, you could just decrease R to 0 and it would be minimum. But that's not what we want. So we can replace H by V because V is a constant whereas H is not a constant. So we get small v equals pi times, this will become 2R squared plus 8R plus 8 plus H pi will be V by R squared. So V by R squared times, this will become 4R plus 4. Right? So we'll differentiate it and that will be equal to 0. It will be pi times 4R plus 8 minus this is 4V by R. So the derivative will be 4V by R squared minus this is 4V by R squared. So the derivative will be 8V by R cube. Right? And that is equal to 0 when R is equal to 10. So that means pi times R is 10 means 48 minus, now this is by 100 and by 1000. So I'll multiply this by 10 and take it to be by 1000. So equal to 48V by 1000. Which gives me V by 250 pi equal to 4, which is my final answer. Because that's what I needed to find out. Right? So V by 250 pi comes out to be equal to 4. Let's look at the next question. We are given fx is equal to integral of, I'll just write it down, f of x equals integral from x to x squared plus pi by 6 to cos squared t dt. Right? So let's just solve it first a little bit. Let's just simplify it first. Then I'm sure you've understood which question I'm talking about now. So if it's 2 cos squared t can be written as 1 plus cos 2t. Right? 1 will just become this minus this. So the net integral will become equal to x squared minus x, x squared minus x plus pi by 6 plus half because of that too sine of 2x squared plus pi by 3 minus sine 2x. right? This is I'm sorry, this is capital F of x, right? Also we are given that f dash a plus 2 is equal to the area bounded by x is equal to 0, x is equal to a, y is equal to 0 and y is equal to fx, right? This area. So basically it's nothing but the integral from 0 to a of f of x dx, right? This is what is given to us. Now I'm going to change a little bit and calculate the change in both sides and divide it by the small change in a, which is another way of saying I'm going to differentiate both sides. So the LHS will simply become f double dash of a. What is the RHS? Now this is a constant 0. If we change a by a little amount, let's say delta a, then this total area will change by this amount. We know that this height is f of a at a, so this total change will be f of a into delta a. If we divide it by delta a, we just get f of a, right? So f of a is nothing but f dash a, which gives me f of 0 is equal to double f dash of 0. F of 0 is what I need to find out, so I need to differentiate this twice and equate that to 0. So f dash of x will be 2x minus 1 plus 2x cos of 2x squared plus pi by 3 minus cos 2x. Now you might be wondering why I didn't just use this formula. That is because in this case 0 was fixed and only a was changing. But when both the limits are changing, it becomes slightly more complicated. It can still be done, but I prefer to do it directly. So this is f dash x. F double dash of x will be 2 plus 2 cos of 2x squared plus pi by 3 minus 8x squared times some big term. The term will be sine of 2x squared plus pi by 3 plus 2 sine 2x. I didn't write the whole term because we need f double dash of 0. Right, so this term will be 0 and sine of 0 will be 0. So these two terms are left. If x is 0, then cos of pi by 3 is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 into 2 is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So my final answer in this case is 3. Small f of 0 is equal to 3. Right. Now we are moving on to the objective questions which have more than one choice correct. So the question is, if x and y are two 3 cross 3 non-zero skew-symmetric matrices and Z is a 3 cross 3 non-zero symmetric matrix, then which of the following options are a skew-symmetric matrix? The property of a skew-symmetric matrix is A transpose is equal to minus A, and the property of a symmetric matrix is A transpose is equal to A. So let's look at all the four options individually. The first option given to us is y cube z to the power 4 minus z to the power 4 y cube. I know it's convention to use capital letters when writing matrix, but for convenience, because I'm writing on a tablet, I'm going to use small letters. Minus z to the power 4 y cube. We need to find out if this matrix is symmetric, skew-symmetric or none. So we'll just take the transpose, and we know the formulas for transpose. That will be y cube z to the power 4 transpose minus z to the power 4 y cube transpose. And we also know that AB transpose is equal to B transpose A transpose, right? So that gives me z to the power 4 transpose y cube transpose minus y cube transpose z to the power 4 transpose. Now z to the power 4 transpose is the same as z transport to the power 4, right? And z transport is equal to z and y transpose is equal to minus y, because z is symmetric and y is skew symmetric. And this is a cube, so it will be minus 1 to the power 3. So ultimately it will become minus z to the power 4 y cube plus y cube z to the power 4, which is the same as the original term. That means this first option is a symmetric matrix, right? So I did this one in detail. I'll just tell you the other ones. The second option is x to the power 4 44 plus y to the power 44. If you take the transpose, it will be x to the power 44 transpose, which will be x transpose to the power 44. And x transpose is minus x, but minus 1 to the power 44 will be 1 because 44 is even. So it will simply be again x to the power 44 plus y to the power 44, which means it is again symmetric. C option is x to the power 4 z cube minus z cube x to the power 4. If we take a transpose, that will be x to the power 4, it will be z cube transpose x to the power 4 transpose minus x to the power 4 transpose z cube transpose. Now here it was y cube, so we had a minus 1. It's x to the power 4, so there will be no minus 1. So it will be equal to z cube x to the power 4 minus x to the power 4 z cube, which is the opposite of this. So this is a skew symmetric matrix. And similarly, the fourth option is x to the power 23 plus y to the power 23. This will again be a skew symmetric matrix because x to the power 23 transpose is x transpose to the power 23, which is minus x to the power 23. So it will be minus x to the power 23 minus y to the power 23, which is again skew symmetric. And in the question, we are asked which of these is a skew symmetric matrix. So the answer in this case is C and D. Right. In the next one, we are given a big determinant, and we are given an equation in that terms of that determinant, and we need to find out the possible values of alpha. So the determinant has 9 terms: 1 plus alpha whole squared, 1 plus 2 alpha whole squared, 1 plus 3 alpha whole squared, and so on. The first term is 1 plus 2 alpha plus alpha squared. Second term is 1 plus 4 alpha plus 4 alpha squared. The third term is 1 plus 6 alpha plus 9 alpha squared. And it will take the whole square. This term is 4 plus 4 alpha plus alpha squared. This term is 9 plus 6 alpha plus alpha squared. And I'm not going to write these two terms. Now the only thing this question tries to test is your ability to visualize and see that this is actually the product of two determinants, right? So I'll write both the determinants. One is 1 2 1 4 4 1 9 6 1, because we see 1 2 1 4 4 1 9 6 1 9 6 1 4 4 1. We keep seeing these, and obviously the other one must be in terms of 1 alpha and alpha squared, right? So it's actually 1 1 1 alpha 2 alpha 3 alpha alpha squared 4 alpha squared 9 alpha squared, right? And you can see 9 alpha squared and 9 will multiply when we have 81 alpha, which is because of 9. 1 2 and 1 multiplied by this will give me 1 plus 2 alpha plus alpha squared, then 1 plus 4 alpha plus 4 alpha squared, then 1 plus 6 alpha plus 9 alpha squared, then this term 4 4 1 with this, 9 6 1 with this. So that's all this question was trying to test, right? After this, the question becomes somewhat easy. We are given that this is equal to minus 648 alpha, right? So this determinant you can evaluate. I did it myself and it came out to be minus 4. And this determinant, what you can do is subtract 2 rows directly. So you can take, so this will become 0 and this will become 0, because subtract 1 from this, then this will become alpha, and this will become 2 alpha, and this will become 3 alpha square, and this will become 8 alpha square. And now it's simplified. Alpha times 8 alpha squared multiplies by 3 alpha squared times 2 alpha, so that gives me 2 alpha cube. So minus 4 multiplied by 2 alpha cube is equal to minus 648 alpha, which gives me alpha square equal to 81, which gives me alpha is equal to plus minus 9. And two options were 9 and minus 9, so the answer in this case will be B and C, right? Let's look at the next one. In R cube, there are two planes, y is equal to 0 and x plus z equal to 1. P3 is a plane different from P1 and P2. which passes through the intersection of P1 and P2. So we know that if we have two planes P1 equal to 0 and P2 equal to 0, then a random plane or a family of planes passing through the line of intersection of these two planes is of the type P1 plus lambda P2 equal to 0. Because obviously any point on that line will have to be passing through these two planes as well, right? So in this case, my first plane is y is equal to 0, my second plane is x plus z equal to 1, so my third plane is x plus z minus 1 plus lambda y is equal to 0. Now I am given that the distance of point 0, 1, 0 from this plane is 1. Now we know the distance of a point from a plane. We substitute this into this plane and divide it by root of a square plus b square plus c square, the coefficients of x, y and z. So I'll simply get only y will be left. So the distance will be mod of, always remember what mod when calculating distances, lambda minus 1 by root of 1 square plus lambda square 2 plus lambda square. We are given this is equal to 1, which means lambda minus 1 whole squared is equal to 2 plus lambda squared, which is lambda squared will get cancelled. 1 minus 2 lambda is equal to 2, which means lambda is equal to minus 1 by 2. Right. Now lambda is minus 1 by 2. That means the equation is x plus y by 2 plus z minus 1 is equal to 0. And we know now that the distance of the point alpha, beta, gamma from this plane is 2. That means alpha plus beta by 2 plus gamma minus 1 divided by root of 1 squared plus 1 by 2 whole squared. So that's 9 by 4 is equal to 2. Right. Mod of this is equal to 2. Right. So root of 9 by 4 will be 3 by 2. It will go towards this side. So 2 multiplied by 3 by 2. So it gives me 3. Right. So mod of this is 3. So this particular quantity is equal to plus minus 3, which means 2 alpha plus beta plus 2 gamma is equal to 3 plus 1 is 4 into 2 is 8, or minus 3 plus 1 is 2 into 2 is minus 4. So it will be equal to either 8 or minus 4, which means the answer is B or D. Right. Let's look at the next question. Let L be a straight line passing through the origin. Suppose all points on L are at a constant distance from the two planes P1 and P2. What is the locus of the feet of perpendiculars drawn from points on L to plane M1? We are given some points and we want to find which of these lies within the locus. Right. So we are given a line which is at a constant distance from two planes. That means the line is parallel to both the planes. Right. Now if the line is parallel to both the planes, that means the line is perpendicular to the normals of both the planes. Right. The planes given to me are x plus 2y minus z plus 1 is equal to 0 and 2x minus y plus z minus 1 is equal to 0. So we know that the vector normal to the first one is I plus 2j minus k, and the vector normal to the second one is 2i minus j plus k. Right. So the vector which is parallel to both these planes will be perpendicular to both these vectors. Right. How do you find a vector which is perpendicular to two vectors? You just take their cross product and it will be a scalar multiple of that. So if you take this first vector multiplied by the second vector, I cross I will give me 0, I cross j will give me k, I cross k will give me minus j, and it will ultimately come out to be I cap minus 3j cap minus 5k cap. That is this cross this, right? So this is the direction cosine of the line, right? And now we want to find the foot of the perpendicular from the origin onto this line, right? So the foot of the perpendicular will be given as not from this line, the foot of the perpendicular from the origin onto this plane, right? Because we want to find out with respect to this plane. So we know the foot of the perpendicular from any point on any plane. It is given by, in this case it will be x minus 0 by 1 is equal to y minus 0 by 2 is equal to z minus 0 by minus 1 is equal to minus 1 by 6. Right, a plus b plus c by root a square plus b square plus c square. So it'll, and there's a minus sign anyway there. So from this we get x is equal to y by 2 is equal to minus z is equal to minus 1 by 6, which means this particular point is minus 1 by 6 comma minus 1 by 3 comma 1 by 6. Right, so we were given that the original line passes through the origin. So what we did is we took the perpendicular from the origin to this plane. That gives us this point. So we know that the line M has to contain this point. Right, so the line M contains this point and the direction cosine of the line is this. We know how to construct the equation of a line if we are given the direction cosine and a point. So it will be x minus this equal to y minus that is equal to z minus that is equal to lambda. Right, so it will be x plus 1 by 6 by 1 equal to y plus 1 by 3 by minus 3 is equal to z minus 1 by 6 by minus 5. Right, equal to lambda. So any points which are in these ratios will satisfy, and if you look at all the points given, only the first 2 points satisfy this particular result. So my answer will be A and B. Once again I repeat what we did. We took the normal to these two planes. We found out the vector perpendicular to both these normals, which is this vector. So we know that the line is along this vector. Right, and we know that the foot of the origin to this plane is part of that line. So we calculate that, and that point is minus 1 by 6, minus 1 by 3, 1 by 6. So the locus has to pass through this point, and locus has to have this direction cosine. Right, and this is the relation which we calculate when we know a point through which the line is passing and the direction of the line, and from that we just put the options and we see that A and B satisfy this pattern whereas C and D do not. The next question. We are given P and Q are two distinct points on the parabola y square is equal to 2x, and a circle with PQ as diameter passes through the vertex O. Right, and we are given that the area of the triangle is 3 root 2. Then which of the following could be possible coordinates? Right, so a circle which has x1 y1 and x2 y2 as diameter is given by x minus x1 times x minus x2 plus y minus y1 times y minus y2 is equal to 0. Let's take the 2 points in terms of parametric representation as t1 and t2. That means at square comma 2at1 and at2 square comma 2at2. Right, so the equation is x minus a t1 squared x minus a t2 squared plus y minus 2a t1 y minus 2a t2. This is the equation of that circle. Right, the first thing we are given is that this passes through the vertex of the parabola. Now this is our standard parabola y square is equal to 2x, that is y square is equal to 4ax with a equal to 1 by 2. Right, if this passes through the vertex which is the origin, that means this equation should be satisfied when x and y are 0. Right, so that means a squared t1 squared t2 squared plus 4a squared t1 t2 equal to 0. Right, which gives me t1 t2 a squared times t1 t2 plus 4 equals 0, which gives me t1 t2 is equal to minus 4. Right, so this is the first equation we get, t1 t2 is equal to minus 4. Now we are given that the area of the triangle formed by these three vertices is 3 root 2. We know the area of the triangle if three vertices are given, half x1 y1 1 x2 y2 1 2a1 2a2 1. We are given that this is equal to 3 root 2. Right, so we can calculate this. This will be give me half of a squared times half of 2a squared t1 squared t2 minus 2a squared t2 squared t1. This is equal to 3 root 2. So this half and half cancel. So we get a square t1 t2 times t1 minus t2 is equal to 3 root 2. Right? t1 t2 is equal to minus 4 and a square is equal to 1 by 4. So this gives me t1 minus t2 minus t1, it doesn't really matter actually, is equal to 3 root 2. And we already know t1 t2 is equal to minus 4. Using these two we can calculate the values of t1 and t2. So we are given t2 minus, so t2 plus 4 by t2 is equal to 3 root 2, which means t2 square minus 3 root 2 t2 plus 4 is equal to 0. 3 root 2 is 2 root 2 plus root 2 and both of them multiplied give me 4. So the equation is t2 minus 2 root 2 by splitting the middle term. t2 minus root 2 equal to 0. So t2 or t1 interchangeably are root 2 or 2 root 2. Right? And that means p is just 80 square comma 280 for both the cases. So it will be 4 comma 2 root 2 or 1 comma root 2, which means the answer is A or D. Right? Let's look at the next question. We are given that yx is a solution of the differential equation 1 plus e to the power x times y dash plus y e to the power x is equal to 1. Now the LHS can be written as 1 plus e to the power x y whole dash, right? Because first term multiplied by the derivative of the second term plus second term multiplied by the derivative of the first term. This is equal to 1, which gives me 1 plus e to the power x y is equal to integral of 1, which is x plus c. We are given y of 0 equal to 2. So x is equal to 0. So this is 2, this is 2, x is 0, which gives me c is equal to 4, which gives me y is equal to x plus 4 by 1 plus e to the power x. So out of the first two options we can see that y of minus 4 is 0 whereas y of minus 2 is not. Then we are asked about the critical point, so we need to differentiate this. So the derivative of this will be 0. That means 1 plus e to the power x minus x plus 4 e to the power x is equal to 0. Right? This gives me 1 plus e to the power x minus x e to the power x minus 4 e to the power x is equal to 0, which gives me e to the power x is equal to, this will be 3, so I'll get 1 by x plus 3. Right, wait a second, have I made no mistake there? 1 plus e to the power x, so 1 minus 3 e to the power x, yeah, it's fine. So e to the power x is 1 by x plus 3. Right, now we need critical points within the range of minus 1 to 0. So if x is between minus 1 to 0, then 1 by x plus 3 is between, for minus 1 it will be 1 by 2 and for 0 it will be 1 by 3. Right, that is 0.33 to 0.5. Right, e goes from minus 1 to 0, that is 1 by e to 0 to 1 by e to 1. Right, now you will actually find, if you calculate the value of 1 by e, that 1 by e to 1 and 0.33 to 0.5 do have some overlapping range. Right, 1 by e is not greater than 0.5, right, because e is greater than 2. So in that case we know that this equation has at least one solution in the interval of minus 1 to 0. That means the function y of x has a critical point within minus 1 to 0. So the answer to this question will be A and B. Will be A and C, sorry. Y of minus 4 is 0 and there should be a critical point based on this particular equation. Right. Let's do the next equation. consider the family of all circles whose centers lie on the straight line y is equal to x, right? So the family of those circles will have the equation x square plus y square minus 2hx minus 2hy plus c is equal to 0, right? We can differentiate this once with respect to x, so that gives me 2x plus 2y dash minus 2h minus 2hy dash is equal to 0, which gives me h is equal to x plus y, this is h, sorry, x plus y dash divided by 1 plus y dash. We can differentiate again on both sides. The derivative of h will be 0 because h is a constant, so, and the denominator will be not matter anyway, so we'll get 1 plus y dash whole squared times the derivative of x plus y dash, that is be 1 plus y dash squared plus y double dash minus x plus y dash times y double dash. We are given this is equal to 0, right? So you can expand it and it will give me 1 plus y dash square plus y double dash plus y dash square. This is not square actually, sorry. So 1 plus y dash plus y dash plus y dash cube plus y dash y double dash minus x y double dash minus y dash y double dash equal to 0. This cancels with this. Now we can take things common nicely and we can see that this reduces to y minus x times y double dash, that takes care of these two terms, plus 1 plus y dash square plus y dash times y dash, that takes care of this and this, plus 1 equal to 0. And we are given that this is of the form of py double dash plus qy dash plus 1 equal to 0. So that means p is equal to y minus x and q is equal to 1 plus y dash square. So p is y minus x and p plus q will be 1 plus y dash square plus y minus x. So which makes the answers B and C. Right. Let's look at the next question. We are given gx as a function with g of 0 equal to 0, g dash of 0 equal to 0 and g dash of 1 not equal to 0, and f of x is g of x into x by mod x, right, if x is not 0. So let's split that. It will be g of x is if x is greater than 0, it will be 0 if x is equal to 0, it will be minus g of x if x is less than 0, right. H of x meanwhile is e to the power mod x, that will be e to the power x if x is greater than equal to 0, and e to the power minus x if x is less than 0, right. So now we need f of h and h of f also. So f of h of x will be nothing but g of e to the power x when e to the power x is greater than 0. It will be g of 1 basically, because e to the power x will be 1 when e to the power x, this should be x greater than 0, sorry, x is equal to 0, and it will be g of e to the power minus x if x is less than 0. Similarly, h of f will be e to the power gx for x greater than equal to 0, and it will be e to the power minus g of x for x less than 0, right. So now let's look at f and h, the derivatives. F dash on the plus side is nothing but g dash x, right. Now g dash x is 0 because we are given g dash 0 is 0. Similarly, f dash on the minus side is minus g dash x, but again g dash 0 is 0. so it is also 0. That means f dash is differentiable, right? Then let's look at h. So derivative of h here will be, that is h dash plus will be e to the power x, and h dash minus will be minus e to the power minus x. Right, now as x goes to 0, this goes to 1 and this goes to minus 1. They are not the same. So h is not differentiable. F is differentiable, h is not differentiable. Let's look at f of h. If we want f of h dash on the plus side, that will be the derivative of g times e to the power x. Right, that can be written as g dash of e to the power x multiplied by e to the power x itself. Right, where x is near 1. So if x is near 1, sorry, x is near 0. If x is near 0, this is near 1, and this is g dash of e to the power x, that is g dash of 1. Now we are specifically given g dash of 1 is not 0. Right. If we try to calculate FOH of minus, that means the derivative from the left hand side, that will give me, again this will be g dash into minus e to the power minus x. Now if g dash of 1 was 0, it would be differentiable, but g dash of 1 is explicitly given to be not 0, so this is the negative of this. That means f of h is not differentiable. The last one is h of f. Let's look at that. H of f derivative on the plus side will be e to the power gx into g dash of x, and on the minus side will be minus e to the power minus gx into g dash of x. But this is at x is equal to 0, and we are given that x is equal to 0, g dash of 0 is explicitly 0. So these two are equal, which means f and h of f are differentiable, whereas h and f of h are not differentiable, which gives my final answer as A and D. This makes all the difference. It is explicitly given to us that g dash of 1 is not equal to 0. Let's look at the next question. We are given f of x is equal to sine of pi by 6 sine of pi by 2 sine x, and we are given g of x is equal to pi by 2 sine x. The first option is the range of f. Right, now sine x ranges from minus 1 to 1, so this term will range from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Sine of minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 again ranges from minus 1 to 1. Right, so this will be from minus pi by 6 to pi by 6. That means the range of fx will be minus 1 by 2 to 1 by 2. Right, sine pi by 6 and sine minus pi by 6. What is the range of f of g? F of g would be sine of pi by 6 sine of pi by 2 sine of, instead of x we'll put gx, so pi by 2 sine x. Now it doesn't really matter how many pi by 2's you put here, again the range will still by the similar method come out to be minus 1 by 2 to 1 by 2. C option is limit x goes to 0 f of x by g of x. That will be f of x by pi by 2 sine x. Right, so pi by 2 sine x will become pi by 2 x. Sine of that will again become pi by 2x. So this and this will cancel. Everything else will, sine of x will just become x, and ultimately the answer will be pi by 6. Right. Fourth option, there is an x such that g of f is 1. G of f will be pi by 2 sine of pi by 6 sine of pi by 2 sine x. We are given this is equal to 1. Right, now pi by 2 sine x is between minus pi by 2 and pi by 2. That means this has become minus 1 and 1. That means this will be between minus pi by 6 and pi by 6. That means this will become between minus half and half. Right, so we need the sine of minus half and sine of half. So pi by 2 sine of something between minus half and half is equal to 1. So basically this is equal to 2 by pi. Now this is not sine of pi by 6, this is sine of half. Sine of half a radian. Right, so we'll need to look at radians. This is 3.14 radians. right? We take a third of that, nearly we take even half of that. If you try to calculate it, you'll see that it is definitely less than equal to 30 degrees, right? So in that case, at 2 by, so half is 30 degrees, 2 by pi is greater than that. So if you try to calculate it, you'll find that sine of half is actually less than equal to, sine of half is actually less than equal to 2 by pi. So this equation will never ever be valid. That means there is no x such that g of f is 1. So D option is false, all others are true. So my answer will become A, B and C. Right. Let's look at the next question. That the sum is 0 because they represent sides of a triangle. Right. We are given mod A, mod B and B dot C. So we'll take A towards this side and we'll square both sides. So we get mod A squared is equal to mod B squared plus mod C squared plus 2B dot C. Mod A squared is given to us to be 144. Mod B squared will be square of 4 root 3, that is 48, plus 2B dot C will again be 48 plus mod C squared. So that gives me mod C squared is equal to 48. Right. So that means option A is true and option B is false. Then we need mod of A, so A cross B plus C cross B. Right. But actually C cross A is equal to A cross B. Right, because we can take this will be minus of A cross C, and if we take this towards this side, it will simply be A cross of B plus C. And we know this has to be 0 because B plus C has to be in the same plane as A. Right, so this is basically nothing but 2 times A cross B. That is 2 mod A mod B sine theta. So we need the angle between them. We know mod A, we know mod B, we know A dot B. Right. So we can try to calculate this. Right. Okay. First we need to calculate A dot B. I forgot about that. So yeah, let's first calculate A dot B. So we'll do the same thing we did here except for C. So similarly, C squared is equal to A squared plus mod B squared plus 2A dot B. Right, so that gives me 48 is equal to 144 plus 48 plus 2A dot B. So that gives me A dot B is equal to minus 72, which is the fourth option. Now we can calculate 2A cross B. So A dot B is minus 72 divided by mod A mod B would be by 12 into 4 root 3. This will give me 6. This will give me 3 by 2. So minus root 3 by 2. So cos theta, the angle between them is minus root 3 by 2, which means sin theta is plus minus 1 by 2, which means 2A cross B is 2 into 12 into 4 root 3 into plus minus 1 by 2. That doesn't matter. So that is 48 root 3. Right. So B option is wrong. All other three are correct. So the answer is A, C and D. Now we have to match the columns left. So let's look at them. Let's look at each option individually. Right. So let's look in the first match the column is the one which has the options 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And A is the magnitude of the projection of alpha I plus beta j on root 3I plus j is root 3. And alpha is 2 plus root 3 beta. What are the possible values of alpha? So if alpha is 2 plus root 3 beta, then we can immediately write the vector as alpha I cap plus alpha minus 2 by root 3 j cap. We are given that the projection of this on root 3 I cap plus j cap is root 3. The projection of A on B is A dot B by mod B. Right, so this dot root 3I plus j by mod of root 3I plus j, which is 2. So it gives me root 3 alpha plus alpha minus 2 by root 3 whole times 1 by 2 is root 3. This is given to us to be root 3, which means another root 3 will go here, 3 and 2 will become 6. So this will be 4 alpha minus 2 is equal to 6. But remember, this is magnitude, right? Because we are talking about distance, the magnitude projection, which means 4 alpha minus 2 could be plus minus 6, which means 4 alpha could be minus 4 or 8. That means alpha could be 2 or minus 1. That means mod alpha, which is what we need, could be 1 or 2. So the answer for option A is P and Q. Let's look at option B. We are given real numbers A and B such that fx, which is minus 3ax square minus 2, and bx plus a squared. This is for x is less than 1. Sorry, I didn't mean to write a fraction there. This is x less than 1 and this is x is greater than or equal to 1. We are given that this is differentiable. Possible values of a are. So first of all, if this is differentiable, then it has to be continuous as well. So at x is equal to 1, they both are the same. So minus 3a minus 2 is equal to a square plus b. Right. That gives me immediately. Also the derivative is same. So that means minus 6ax minus 6a is equal to b. Right. Putting x is equal to 1. So b I can immediately replace as minus 6a. So that gives me a square plus 3a minus 2 is equal to 0, which gives me a is equal to 2 or 1. So again the answer for B is also P and Q. Let's look at option C. Option C gives me a couple of terms. What I can do is, to make it easy, I can take K as 3 minus 3 omega plus 2 omega square. So if you notice quickly, the first bracket is K. The second bracket, everything is shifted by 1, so it is K omega. And the third one is K omega square. So I am given K to the power 4n plus 3 plus K omega to the power 4n plus 3 plus K omega square to the power 4n plus 3 is equal to 0. Now we know 1 plus omega squared is equal to 0. 1 plus omega squared plus omega to the power 4 equal to 0. Right. 1 plus omega to the power anything plus omega to the power that square is equal to 0, except 1 plus omega cube plus omega to the power 6 is not 0. It is 3, because omega cube and omega to the power 6 both are 1. So this will always be valid except when 4n plus 3 is a multiple of 3. So 4n plus 3 should not be a multiple of 3. That means n can be equal to 1, 2, 4 or 5, but n cannot be equal to 3. If n is equal to 3, this becomes 15, right? So 1 plus omega to the power 15 plus omega square to the power 15, that is omega to the power 30, is not equal to 0. It becomes 3. But if we take this to be 14 and 28, then it does indeed become 0. Right? So the answer to this question will be, C part will be P, Q, S and T. Let's look at the final D part now. D part, we are given that the harmonic mean of two numbers A and B is 4. So 4 is equal to 2AB by A plus B. And we are given A, 5, Q and B are in an arithmetic progression. So we can take A to be 5 minus D, we can take Q to be 5 plus D, and we can take B to be 5 plus 2D. Everything with respect to 5, because 5 is the known quantity, right? And we'll just substitute these here. So it will give me A plus B will be 10 plus D. So that multiplied by 4. So 40 plus 4D is equal to 4 times, sorry, is equal to 2 times AB. 5 minus D, 5 minus 2D. Right. We can try to solve this. This will give me, this should be 4D. 4d. So 20 plus 2d is equal to 25 plus 5d minus 2d square, right, which gives me 2d square minus 3d minus 5 is equal to 0, which I can split as 2d square minus 5d plus 2d minus 5 equal to 0, which gives me 2d plus 5 multiplied by d minus 1 equals 0, which means now we need the difference between q and a, which is mod of 2d, right? So if d can be 1 or 5 by 2, 2d can be 2 or 5. So the answer is 2 or 5. That means for option D, the answer is Q and T. Now the final question is left. The last match the following question. Let's look at the first part A. And it says let A, B and C are the sides of a triangle. We are given 2 times A square minus B square is equal to C squared. That means 2 times A squared minus B squared is equal to C squared. Now since due to sine law, A by sine A will be B by sine B, which will be C by sine C. Let's take that equal to K. Then this will be simply be K sine A, K sine B and K sine C, and K will cancel. So we'll also get 2 sine squared A minus sine squared B is equal to sine squared C. We know sine squared A minus sine squared B is sine A plus B into sine A minus B. So 2 sine A minus B into sine A plus B will be sine squared C. Sine A plus B I can simply write as sine C, because A plus B plus C is pi. Sine C cancels with this, because we know that sine C will definitely not be equal to 1. And A, B and C are actually x, y and z in the question. So we get sine of x minus y by sine z is equal to 1 by 2, which is given to us to be lambda. And we want n for which cos n pi lambda is 0. That means cos n lambda by 2 is 0, which is valid for odd n. So n will be equal to 1, 3 and 5. That means the answer for option A is P, R and S. Let's look at option B now. In option B, we are given 1 plus cos 2x minus 2 cos 2y is equal to 2 sin x sin y. I'll just start simplifying it right away. So 1 plus cos 2x can be written as 2 cos square x minus 2 times cos 2y can be written as 1 minus 2 sin square y. This is equal to 2 sin x sin y, right? So that gives me 2 times cos square x minus 1, so minus 2 sin square x plus 4 sin squared y is equal to 4 sin x sin y. Now we can divide by sin y, and sin x by sin y will simply be a by b, which is the ratio which we want to find out, right? So let's call that alpha, which is sin x by sin y, right? So we'll get minus 2 alpha squared plus 4 is equal to 4 alpha, which means alpha square minus 2 alpha plus 2 is equal to 0. Hang on, I think I made a mistake here. 2 cos square x minus 2 will be minus 2 sin square x plus 4 sin square y. Yeah, that's it, right? This is equal to 2 sin x sin y. This is 2 alpha. So alpha square minus alpha plus 2 is 0, which will give me alpha minus 1 into alpha plus 2 is equal to 0. Since we are talking about triangles, this has no meaning. So that means alpha is equal to 1, right? Given alpha is equal to 1, a by b is equal to 1. So the answer for the option B is P. Let's look at option C. We are given 2 position vectors. One of them is root 3 comma 1, the other is 1 comma root 3. Now we know that they're the reciprocals and this angle is 30 and 60, so we can directly see that the angle bisector is the line at 45 degrees, that is y is equal to x, right? This is the angle bisector. We can find the distance of z from this bisector. Z is beta plus 1 minus beta, so the distance of a point from a line is simply mod of beta minus 1 minus beta by root 2. We put this formula inside this, y minus x is equal to 0 and root a square plus b square, and this is equal to 3y root 2. Root 2 cancels. That means 2 beta minus 1 mod is equal to 3. That means beta can be equal to 2 or minus 1. That means mod beta can be equal to 2 or 1. This is minus 3, so minus 2 by 2 minus 1. Yeah. So beta can be 2 or 1, which means the answer for option C is P and Q. The final part of the final question, option D. Right. So we are given two separate cases. Y is given to us to be mod alpha x minus 1 plus mod alpha x minus 2 plus alpha x. Right. We need values for alpha is equal to 0 and alpha is equal to 1. Right. The region has to be bounded by I apologize for drawing. This is a parabola. Slightly better. So this is a parabola. We are given x is equal to 0. Then we are given x is equal to 2. Right. And in the first case, let's take alpha is equal to 0. Right. So if alpha is 0, we simply get y is equal to 3. So this is the line y is equal to 3. That means we want this area. Right. This is 3. So we know the total rectangular area is 3 into 2, that is 6. So the area of this region will be 6 minus the area of this parabola. The area of this parabola will be going from 0 to 2 y dx. Right. Y is given to us to be 2 root x. That becomes 6 minus x to the power half will be x to the power 3 by 2 by 3 by 2. The 4 by 3 into x to the power 3 by 2. 2 to the power 3 by 2, that is root 2 whole cube. So that gives me 2, 6 minus 8 root 2 by 3. That means f plus 8 root 2 by 3 is equal to 6. This is 6 is the answer for alpha is equal to 0. If we take alpha is equal to 1, then the only thing changes is this line, the top line. If we take alpha is equal to 1, right, in that case, in some cases this will be positive, in some cases this will be negative. So this term will be x plus, if alpha is 1, then this is mod of x minus 1. Right. So we need two cases. We need from 0 to 1 and from 1 to 2. For 0 to 1, mod of x minus 1 will be 1 minus x, and mod of x minus 2 will be 2 minus x. So we get y is equal to 3 minus x. Y is equal to 3 minus x will end up looking something like this. Right. In the other case, if we go from greater than 1, right, in that case this term will be x minus 1. So we'll get x plus x minus 1 plus, now this will be x minus 2. Right. So that will reduce and give me 2 minus x, because that will still be negative. So this cancels, 2 minus 1 is 1. So it will be 1 plus x. 1 plus x will be something like this. Right, because this is 2. 2 is equal to 1 plus 1. So now we need this total area. That means from the previous area, we need to subtract the area of this particular triangle. Right, so what is the area of this triangle? This is 2, this height is 1. So half into 2 into 1, that is 1. So in the second case, the area is 1 less than the previous case. So it will be 5 minus 8 root 2 by 3. In that case, f plus 8 root 2 by 3 will be equal to 5. So the answer for D part is 6 and 5. That is S and T. That concludes the answers for paper 1 of JEE Advanced.